shame we're in. We the people, storm-torn steeple, cracked stained glass, but the light shines equal. We are not the chains that keep you in. We the people. Yeah, we the people.
We're so excited. We're on our fourth show, and we have had a very, very busy week. Just running around between Zohar Mamdani destroying New York City, the radicals still going on over there in Minnesota, Gavin Newsom taking his foot and putting his foot in his mouth. Absolutely decimated the whole entire black community, basically telling them that they're not educated, they're not smart, they don't know how to read, they don't know how to write, they're not anything better than a 960 SAT score. And between shoveling our own driveways out, and it's an absolute disaster. And once again, we will say thank you, God, to our Lord and our Savior, that Donald J. Trump is our president. People forget very quickly Kamala Harris could have been your president, and that incompetent governor over there, Tim Walz, that eventually he will be in handcuffs for stealing billions upon billions of dollars out of the beautiful taxpayers' dollars over there in Minnesota. He could have been your vice president. But we're going to start this off right now because the biggest story right now is that the Democrats, and it just doesn't make sense, they show up every day and every night. Nobody should show an ID. Nobody should be having to prove themselves that they are an American citizen to vote for a president, vote for a congressman, show up to any of these voting polls. But yet, the mayor, the incompetent mayor in New York City, you need 5 forms of ID to collect a shovel to shovel yourself out of New York. And we've got a very special guest here by the name of Steve Stern. This guy is a patriot of the United States of America. He's been doing this a very long time. And he's going to school all of us on why it is so important and so necessary to get this thing pushed through because of all this voter fraud and this voter ID, all this bullshit that's going on. Steve, good to have you here, pal. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully everybody can see me. We look a little small here today, so maybe you can make it a little bit bigger, but we'll give you a little background. As you can see back there with President Trump and myself, this was 2 days before the last 22 election. And what he did was he endorsed our precinct strategy. So I was up there asking him if he could talk about it during his campaign going forward. He said he would. And then he asked me a terrific question that kind of changed my life. He said to me, what do you think about the 2024 election? I said, well, look, we all know that the 2020 and 2022 was stolen or will be stolen. And he said, well, I know you do a precinct strategy Zoom meeting. He said, why don't you move that into an election integrity meeting? I said, well, Mr. President, I didn't know if I should call him Mr. President or Donald or Trump or whatever. But anyway, I said, Mr. President, well, I don't know a lot about election integrity, but let me see what I can do. So about 5 weeks later, after speaking to 100 people, we started our first election security meeting. We had 5 election security people and 10 precinct strategy people. Well, I saw the people are more interested in the election integrity, so we started building that up. And over the years, we've had, 500-700 people on. So about 2 years ago, when I was on Steve Bannon in the morning, and we started with Steve about 5 years ago, he said to me, put your email on the bottom of the screen. And we did that. And we got 1,000 people to sign up. And then he said, while we were on, he usually gives me 3-4 minutes. He gave me about 10 minutes. And he said, we're going to put this live on the War Room. We're going to put this live on Getter. He said, you're the hardest working guy that I know for 80. Back then I was about 81 years old. I'm 84 now. And he said, this is going to make you. I said, well, thank you very much, Steve. And the next day, Maureen Bannon, his daughter, called me and said, hey, we had 60,000 people on this thing. And that was phenomenal. He said, are you going to do this again? I said, yeah, we do this every 2 to 3 weeks. But then I learned something. I said, well, look, if he can get 60,000 people on, we opened up our Stern American Rumble. We opened up 150 different podcasters over the next month or so. We opened up OBBM Network. Many, many networks are streaming this. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had an election security call. We've had a lot of them. We had 8 million people on it. And that gave us a big voice. And how we know we had a big voice on this was about 2 months ago, I was invited to DC, but I had a back operation and I couldn't really travel. So General Flynn had invited me up there, and he called me about 2 weeks later and he said, I want to come on your show. I said, General, usually I have to call you 10 times to get on. He said, well, I'm going to tell you what happened. 4 people from Europe came up to me and said, we heard about your election security call. He said, wow, if you had that kind of voice. Well, we're in 58 countries through podcasters and other people, and how important it is. So we're going to have a big event here. We're going to coordinate it with Precinct Strategy, where we started. So Precinct Strategy.
Oh, we got
100,000 slots. 5 years ago, there was 200,000 people involved. Today, there's 200,000 people together. It went up to 210, down to 190, goes back and forth. So what we decided to do, about 2 weeks ago, we got the idea to start a new site because Dan kind of stepped back a little bit. And we're calling it precinctprojectusa.org. Why is that important? Well, we started on last Thursday, and we got thousands of people after being on Bannon about 5 times, where he has a huge audience. And we got thousands of people getting involved. So our first one, we didn't allow anybody on, but one person from every state or 2. They had to be a chair or a vice chair, and we had 50 people on. And what came out of that was that each person understood that it was great to contact with other states, and we gave them all the numbers. And we had the chairs, vice chairs, who gave us a lot of information. One of the things that they said is we need to get more people involved. Of course, we knew that. Well, we said, well, how do you do that? Well, some of the things they're doing now is going door to door, knocking on doors, asking people to get involved. Some of the people, I interviewed somebody in Wisconsin, and what she's doing, she goes to conservative groups and she asks them to come to breakfast with them. They go to breakfast for 3 or 4 months, once a week, whoever came, and then they start talking about how to get involved. So that's just one way to get involved. Now, what is important about becoming a committee man or a committee woman, which is what you do when you become a precinct strategy person? You attend meetings. Last night we had our Republican meeting in Broward County. I'm the vice chair. What you do is you get candidates elected. That's the main goal of our precinct strategy. And you sign up voters, you canvass neighborhoods, you poll watch and poll work. Now, one of the things that happened when Trump was elected, Susie Wiles texted me, thanked me for what we're doing. So during our election integrity process, we had asked people, and we're asking them now, to go to protectthevote.com. Protectthevote.com is where you sign up. And our event that we're having with election integrity and precinct strategy this Monday, Joe DeBox is flying down to come on. We're going to have a golf tournament, and it's at Trump International. Here's our little booklet that we have on. We're hoping that President Trump comes on. Why would he come on as playing golf there? Well, they're closing the course after our golf tournament for 7 months. So he won't be able to play for a while. He's actually going to be at Mar-a-Lago. And
well, we got a little cutoff here. Are we good?
Morning, and while they're having golf in the back room, we have our election security call. And we're going to have on Brian Swenson, who's the head of the RNC election integrity. He's going to tell us what's going on with the RNC and how they're going to help save the election. Linda Sinkowitz, fightvoterfraud.org. State, people who voted twice in the last couple of elections. Then we're going to have Harry Hurry on. He's just talking about the fraud that went on in Georgia, and he'll explain about what's happening with the ballots that they seized in Georgia. Next, we'll have Chris Marino. He's our chairman in Broward County. He's going to be talking about precinct strategy and how people can get involved. We're going to have Colonel Tim Schindler on. He's going to be talking about how to get involved also. Joe DeBox going to talk about you and other people that are working up in his warehouse and how they're helping people get involved. Well, Peter Tickton's going to come on. One of the most important things that we do in every type thing is Tina Peters. So I've had Tina Peters talk on our thing before she was in prison, of course. And when she was in prison, she's called me a couple of times. Peter Tickton is one of her attorneys. He's going to be talking about the latest on what happened and why her appeal was denied for bail. And we've asked people, as you can see, to call the governor at 303-866-2471. I'll repeat that slowly. 303-866-2471, Governor Jared Polis, and ask her to release Tina based upon President Trump's pardon that he's given her. So Peter Tickton sent a big letter to President Trump, and that's why he did it, because the Constitution says that he's able to pardon her. Now, the reason why she hasn't been pardoned before was because the governor made it a state crime rather than a federal crime. But the truth is, it was a federal election. It should have been that. So I understand we got a few more minutes left.
Yeah, we actually got 1 minute left. But can you put up asset number 1, the flyer that they put together? I think it's clip number 1 in one of the windows, so people can see that's up there. But I can tell you with the last 40 seconds here, the regular people out there, they're so nervous and they're so scared about election fraud. And that why the Democrats doing everything they can with this voter ID and to stop. And some of the suggestions, as crazy as it sounds, people just put ICE agents at all the major polling booths, and anybody that's illegal won't, they'll be afraid to show up. But anyway.
So Peter Tickton is going to be talking about that too, an executive order that he's been working on with myself, this guy John Goodman, he'll be on, and a bunch of other people. 1 day voting. No machines. You got to have ID.
Thanks, Steve. We got to go to commercial break, but Steve, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right, you got it.
Yeah, we lost.
Noticed your money just doesn't stretch like it used to? Your paycheck feels lighter, and your savings aren't growing. The culprits? Inflation and increased money supply. They've both been quietly eating away at your purchasing power for years. Today, the dollar's value has dropped significantly. You feel it every time you spend money on goods and services. Back in 1965, $1 or an ounce of silver could buy you a gallon of milk. Fast forward to today. That same dollar barely buys a couple of coffee creamers, while an ounce of silver would get you 8 gallons of milk. Gold and silver have held their value for centuries. If you had 2,500 ounces of silver back in 1965, you could buy a brand new Ford Mustang. Today, 2,500 ounces of silver would buy you 2 Mustangs. Similarly, in the year 2000, 628 ounces of gold would buy a new $170,000 home. Today, 628 ounces would buy you a $2,500,000 home. The problem? 95% of Americans don't own physical gold or silver. They think it's too complicated and too expensive, but it doesn't have to be. We offer a membership program that allows you to buy gold or silver with as little as $1. You can buy fractional amounts, safely vault them, or have them delivered to your doorstep, and you can liquidate them whenever you want at the highest buyback price in the industry. Ready to protect your wealth and keep your purchasing power? Scan the QR code or go to tafw.soundmoney.com to learn more.
If the vote count is accurate, then how come the number of voters is different? And if it's not accurate, then why was it certified? We are suing Letitia James and the New York State Board of Elections for a conspiracy against fundamental rights. This is not about who won. It's not about what party. It's about the fact that they don't care about your rights.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
It's me, Joe the Box. And I'm John the Blanket with the America First Podcast.
That's what I'm talking about. The Fred Rubino Podcast.
I'm James Justice. We got Stephen Ruth over here. What are we doing, Steve? Fighting!
Welcome to the Patriots Podcast. Good evening, everyone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the On the Right Side podcast here at the America First Warehouse.
Welcome to Liberty's Cage, the podcast tearing down the walls of America's broken justice system.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Downey Jr. Podcast. Be free, stay free.
The America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be.
Oh, welcome back. I got to tell you, one of the things that, it was a last minute clip that, that we had this, that we had Steve Stern on there, but it was, we thought it was important to get on there because the midterm elections are really, November's right around the corner. I'm just going to tell you, and it's very clear. If we lose the midterms, those Democrats, they will absolutely put impeachment papers, on the president the very next day. And they're also asking for revenge. Whether guys like me or other influencers are out there, they're looking at like we're the enemy of the state, so I just think that it's very, very important that we continue to speak our message and continue to debunk everything they're doing, which I am so excited to have our guest come on here. I got to know him through social media, and I just I listened to his voice, and he just resonates right through, and he's a no bullshit kind of guy, and he just lives and breathes to debunk the lies that are coming out of the left. So, Anthony, what's up, pal? So good to have you here.
Hey, happy to be here, man.
Dude, I got
1, 2, 3. It's good to see you on here, man. Love the show, loving the vibe, loving the energy.
Dude, totally. I got to tell you, a lot, and I got to tell you, I get a lot of inspiration when I'm watching your videos. I'm like, all right, let me listen to what Anthony's got to say, because he's going to tell me what they're saying, and then he's going to call bullshit, and then he's just going to go through his thing of what is reality, what's really going on. And I got to tell you, where did you? Were you always a conservative? Were you always Republican? Were you always into politics?
Definitely into politics. Probably at a younger age. Maybe I was a little more naive, but I used to be a liberal. I wouldn't say liberal. I used to be left leaning, right? Circa day 2008. But after learning more and getting more experience, just as a human being, becoming an adult, realizing the Democratic Party were basically a bunch of crooks and liars. I mean, we saw the whole Obama presidency and how what a joke that was. You sort of wake up, and a lot of different things happened to wake me up. Researching past the headline, things like that. And if you go, and I appreciate the buildup. It's hard to follow up on you. I mean, you're a great creator, but just looking past the headline and looking deep into what actually works when you become an adult, what works as a business owner, how the overregulation hurts the economy and hurts small businesses, things like that. And just the disaster of the Obama presidency that we all had to endure.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, and these, obviously we'll touch on a bunch of things here, but with these Epstein files, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show, because I pulled a couple of clips from everything that's going on. But one of the things, I want people to understand who you are and how you operate. Can you guys do me a favor? I think it's clip number 2 of Anthony debunking another creator, which I absolutely can't stand at all. But let's show clip number 2 of Anthony at work. Is it playing?
Major breaking news. We just learned that Donald Trump's department.
Let's pull and go back. We had a little technical difficulty, don't we, the people? But can we show that without any technical difficulty? Sure, you got it. So let them. They'll cue me up when they can load that. They're having a little problem, but these Democrats, they come out and they've got their agenda and they've got their angles, and they're going to come out and try to sway their people. And what's crazy to me, especially guys like Harry Sisson, he's a kid. And he has no idea that when push comes to shove, and when it comes down to the pipe of who the real enemy is in here, like Anthony, they're going to be standing behind our backs. Please, Midnight, please, Anthony. Stop them. They're going to compromise me. I don't. What should we do? All of a sudden they start crying and they act like cowards.
Yeah. And early on, I've actually talked to Harry Sisson when he was a younger influencer, and tried to come at him because I wasn't aware of how he was basically being paid as a shill by the Democratic Party. So I tried to reach out to him as a younger version of, like, pretending he was a younger version of myself, and how the Democratic Party uses these younger people as a pawn, and they play off of their emotion, right? Because every argument they give is based off of emotion, right? And I tried to come across to him in a live before, and it was like beating on against the wall, and he doesn't. And when you try to debate the kid or anybody like him, they typically will bring up somebody else to argue for them, or they'll just mute you and talk over you the entire time, right? So, I mean, that's the experience I've had in trying to reach out to people like him. But instead of doing that, knowing that I couldn't reach to him directly, you have to reach to his audience. And I think that the main reason I debunk a lot of the things he says is because I know that people that do search his name that will eventually see pretty much 99% of everything he's saying is full of shit in some way, shape, or form. And I think it's important to do that. There's not enough of us doing that. I receive criticism for going after people like Harry Sisson, like, oh, what are you going after a kid? He's a 22-year-old adult. I don't know how old he is now, but he's an adult, and he's spreading misinformation that needs to be challenged, that is rotting the brains of Gen Z and the people that receive this information, and it needs to be challenged. So,
that's the problem. The problem is that, our children are under siege and our children are under attack. As you see, even the educators of these schools taking them out of school, having ICE out protests. On the same day, by the way, some girl in Florida was walking on the beach at 11 o'clock at night, and an illegal immigrant basically came behind her, hit her on the back of the head, dragged her in the water, put her head down. He thought he drowned her. She lived through the process. Thank God, a few days later, he was a national from Venezuela, and they only caught him because he was bragging about some girl he took the life of, on the beach over there in Florida. And, the one thing I never found out, though, I was really curious, was she part of the ICE out protests? Because I can guarantee you she's not that, she won't be that, with that anymore,
Right. No, it's the same thing with the Russian girl, the national that was on the train.
Terrible.
That got killed, or I don't know what we were allowed to say on your platform, got killed by the deranged individual. She was there. She was, there was a picture of her with the BLM photo, and it's things like that. These younger people are supporting the things that will be ultimately maybe not their own personal demise, but could affect the family around them. Like you said, people being attacked, people like Lake and Riley, all the different people that the left refuses to acknowledge that are part of the failed policy of the Democratic Party. Right? I mean, look at the amount of border crossings since Trump has been reelected. Right? We went from an average of how much was it per month? Per day, an average of over 5,000 border crossings a day to in the hundreds, right? And that's over a 90% decrease. So I think at least Trump, a lot of people are critical of Trump lately. I think he has delivered on the border. He's delivered on border and crime, and we can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah, it's Oh yeah, let's go to that. Let's go to that first clip. See if we can get that. I want to see everybody. I want everyone to see you in action. Go ahead.
We have some major breaking news. We just learned that Donald Trump's Department of Justice removed 3 interviews from the Epstein files.
What do you guys think? True or false?
With a victim who accused Donald Trump of assault. This is according to journalist Roger Sollenberger, who...
And the full interview they're talking about was never included in this release. There's only this reference to it. What's that? It's still there. And you want to know what's gone from the release? It's this grid with thousands of lines that has 4 lines on it that refer to this interview. All still available because of Wayback Machine. But you wanted everybody to believe any reference to this accuser was gone. When you and Sullenberger literally have to dig almost 1,000 lines down to these 4 lines to say that this reference to Trump's accuser's interview is gone.
This woman, who was a girl at the time, between 13 and 15 years old, accused Donald Trump of assault. The FBI interviewed her 4 times. They deemed her credible, and now 3 of the 4 interviews are missing from the Epstein files.
But the reference itself is still there. Look, and if she was credible, there'd be a lawsuit, there'd be more corroboration, there'd be evidence. Why don't we tag Harry in the comments and call it?
Yeah, dude, I gotta tell you, and I gotta tell you, when I'm doing my content, I got like 15 screens, every TV's open, I'm watching everything, I got every channel, and I'm doing all my research, but you seem like you really get into you. I mean, you just dug deep and you debunk these guys.
Well, they're putting out, they're still posting this video. midnight. They're still posting this same video over and over again. They're really going after Trump. And I think I'm going to make an appeal, and I hope it gets to President Trump's eyes, because he could sue them for defamation over this, because they're basically saying that he removed specifically this file that it has an interview of this individual, right? The files never revealed the contents of this interview of this accuser, who ended up suing Epstein, who had tried to include Trump in it. And it's completely false. He tried, the whole premise of the hook of his video, which is the beginning of the video for those non-creators, is that they removed, basically he's trying to say Trump removed this to show that to incriminate himself. So he wasn't incriminated. When the file itself that was removed probably is evidence presented to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorneys, right? And it's just 4 lines on a paper, thousands of lines long, mind you. And they selected these 4 lines that reference an FBI interview to this individual, of which was not included in the files at all. But they want their audience to believe this full interview was removed because Trump's trying to hide the fact that he was mentioned by this person and that he was implicated in a rape of this individual, when there's no evidence of that whatsoever. And I think he should sue Harry Sisson, Aaron Parnas, and every major media outlet for pushing this narrative.
Agreed. As far as I'm concerned right now, and again, guys like you, the difference between us and them is that if we got credible information that Donald Trump was compromising underage children, we denounce that president in 2 seconds and we join the campaign against this F Trump thing, right? But we know that he didn't. But we got about 10 seconds left to this clip. And then I want to remind everybody, America First Media and Television, please download the app. Woo! We'll be right back.
You've worked hard and saved, but inflation and increased money supply are eroding your buying power. Protect and grow your wealth with physical gold and silver. Sound Money. With a Sound Money wallet, your wealth stays in your control. Buy fractionally, vault securely, ship directly, and instantly liquidate your gold and silver at the highest buyback price in the industry. Real money, real ownership. Visit tafwsoundmoney.info or scan the QR code and start securing your financial future today.
The America First Ultra MAGA store. For all your MAGA needs. We sell t-shirts, tumblers, flags, hats, sneakers, bumper stickers, and a whole lot more. The most patriotic America First retail store. The America First Ultra MAGA store.
All right, live from Studio 6B on a Friday night, live at the America First Warehouse. Live at the America First Warehouse on a Friday, Real America's Voice, all across the country, 103.9 LI News Radio, all across your radio, Suffolk County, Long Island. Glad you're in.
Corporate transfer. Fine professional, moving and storage, and inventory management.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine. We wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. We give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
We're back with Anthony Court and over at our podcast, We the People. One of the things I want to remind everybody is if you have not downloaded our app at America First Media and Television, please do it now. America First Media and Television. It's important as we, by the way, we are streaming right now on our Instagram. We're streaming live on our Facebook. We're streaming live on YouTube and on Rumble. And, and I thought it was really, really important to bring guys like Anthony on the show because, every moment and everywhere I look, the leaders of the Democratic Party are just lying and lying. They can't be honest with anybody, and everybody's believing them hook, line, and sinker. It's the sheep herd, the sheep herd mentality. And I'm looking at this guy, Anthony, on social media, mostly on TikTok, and he's like debunking everybody and gives an opportunity for someone to hear a little bit of the truth. But one of the things I want to talk about is I showed up last Friday on Fifth Avenue in front of Trump Plaza. Thousands of them showed up. I think it was on President's Day. They all had signs saying, fuck Donald Trump. Everybody's screaming Donald Trump. It was a mob mentality. Midnight shows up. Oh, my God. I go on my TikTok live. I got thousands on there, and they're screaming, and they're yelling at me, but mostly peaceful, right? But I had the opportunity to get a couple of the liberal kids away from the crowd, from the mob, and speak to them one-on-one. And what I found out is that most of them that are protesting there, they're yelling, fuck Donald Trump, not because they believe Donald Trump compromised underage children. They're yelling, fuck Donald Trump, because they believe Donald Trump knows who compromised underage children, and they're not seeing any arrests. And I go, well, that's something I can live with. That's something I can work with. I said, but nobody's got it in the signs. Where's the sign saying fuck Bill Clinton or fuck Hillary Clinton? Or where's the sign saying Bill Gates? Or where's the sign saying Barack Obama or Tom Hanks or any of the other band, Oprah Winfrey? So I want to show this clip. I think it's clip 3 with you and Pam Bondi. You said it perfectly, like, Mr. President, we love you, we support you, but let's go. We need arrests. Let's see. I think it's clip 3. Let's take a look at this. You at work again.
You're going to need to buckle up for this one, and I might lose some followers for this, and if I do, it says more about them than it does about me. Let me make this clear to Pam Bondi. Gas could go down to $1.20 a gallon. The stock market could soar to the moon, and it wouldn't make a damn difference to me if at the same time, these same people that were in charge weren't going after co-conspirators of a fucking pedophile. Yeah, before you say it, I know Biden and Merrick Garland didn't do shit. But just because they didn't do shit doesn't mean that we shouldn't and that we can't. We could right the damn wrong. Left, right, center, doesn't matter. If anyone aided in the sexual crimes against children, kids, teenagers, they need to get the fucking guillotine. No fucking question about that. You know how big of a win this would be for this administration? To right the damn wrong? So you got your sass out, which is fine, but you gave the left their damn photo op with the victims behind you. And look, I'm not one to take commands from grandstanding Democrats that didn't do shit about this. I get that. They didn't demand it for their own damn side, but there are certain things you need to put aside when it comes to victims of abuse. The messaging needs to improve. Make it clear that there are ongoing investigations. Say something, because the messaging here was not done well, and I'm not going to pretend that it was.
I got to tell you, when I watched that video, I can't tell you, that might not be the most viral video, whatever it is, it should be. But I get like a shock, right, because that you came out so authentic, and you came out like such a family man, such humanitarian, like everybody. We are not calling it color, we're not calling it religion, we're not calling it a label of a Democrat, liberal, independent. We are saying we are done with our children being trafficked. Who are we as a community, as a society, if we're not protecting our children? And you come out and say, Mr. President, it is enough. I am a follower of yours. I am a supporter of yours, but you've got to make these arrests. And I'm going to tell you the same thing, Anthony. Very rarely do I challenge the president because I think he's doing such a great job. But all of my followers of millions and upon millions between all my platforms are saying, if the president doesn't make this arrest, we're going to break up MAGA. We got to start something else because we got to protect our children. And I love how you came across on that platform.
Well, I appreciate that, and I actually got some hate mail for putting that video out, and I stand by my words. And I know it's frustrating for him as a president for this to come out during his term, but you have to realize that he signed the bill. He allowed us to find out the information in this 3.5 million files. I acknowledge that, but I think Pam Bondi failed on the messaging and was trying to be more like Trump herself during that hearing. And I think that's what kind of pissed me off the most. And I know it's probably infuriating how everyone piles this on him and her for not prosecuting anybody yet. But I know he can't just wave a magic wand, and going off of hearsay and emails would be quite difficult, right? I do acknowledge that fact. But we can unite on this, because the fact that Les Wexner, all these other people were mentioned in this, and you don't see the left making video after video about Les Wexner. It's all about Trump still, and that's all Harry Sisson and Aaron Parnas are talking about. They're not talking about the hundreds of other people. They're not talking about Bill Clinton. I mean, maybe a little bit of Bill Clinton, but he's not in office right now. So they're not focusing on him, because the Democratic Party is only focused on trying to regain the White House right now and first of all, win midterms right now through this process. And I would hate to be in charge of these investigations, because I acknowledge that decades-old allegations, dealing with that's as slippery as a fresh cigar out of Bill Clinton's personal stash. You know what I'm saying? I mean, half the time they're not going to get something concrete, but they need to make it clear that there are ongoing investigations. And I think she mentioned it in briefly, but she needed to be more stern in that, and not kind of give into the theatrics presented by the Democrats, having those victims stand up behind her, whether those specific victims were credible or not. Right? She gave them their screen time.
Well,
right. And to me, I mean, we should be blaming the previous administration as well. Everyone who had this information could have dived deeper into investigations, but instead, no, we got a bullshit Steele dossier for Russian collusion. Right? They didn't release anything. They could have went for Trump after him being mentioned how many times. They'd like to say the fucking number, and it's different every time they say it. But he went after Epstein himself, and I remind myself that. But I think that he needs to get Pam Bondi to get better messaging and really show that people are being investigated, and an arrest needs to start fucking happening. That's the bottom line, and that's the way I look at it. Well, and I feel like we need real evidence. They need real evidence, and I hope that they're gathering that, and I hope arrests are coming.
Well, my concern when I looked at Pam Bondi, and I know Pam Bondi for quite a while, and she is a beast. But I could be completely wrong, but I made a video to the president saying, please, for God's sakes, you've got the handcuffs on the wrong person. Take the handcuffs of Pam Bondi, let her do her job, and start making these indictments, because history's going to repeat itself, and the president's going to go off into the sunset, and Pam Bondi's going to be the fall guy, like she's not doing her job. And then they're going to put a yes man in there or a pansy in there, and then this is going to hold up some more. But at the end of the day, whether it's the Epstein files, 350 to 500,000 children are disappearing from trafficking situations every single year out of the United States of America. Why isn't anybody? We have a Department of War. We have a Department of Illegal Immigration. I don't know about you, but my number one commodity is my 19-year-old daughter and my 17-year-old son. They should be protected like we are protecting a federal bank or a building or whatever it is. And the schools, why is the children not being protected as if you're protecting your money in a bank? I find it disgusting, and I think we're failing our children as a society.
Right. No, I agree wholeheartedly. I have kids. I have a daughter, and I would be like, if there was solid, complete evidence against Trump himself, I'd be the first one at the top of the fucking hill. Don't get me wrong. And I've heard you say this. You've had to echo the same sentiment, right? I do acknowledge the Trump presidency. He's delivered on the border. He's delivered on lowering crime, and he's delivering on foreign policy currently. But the messaging on this issue has been lackluster, and I know I've received heavy criticism from some of my base, but there's a lot more people that agree than they don't, right? And I've realized that there's a lot of influencers, content creators, right-wing content creators MAGA creators, whatever you want to call them, that are afraid to speak out against the president. But I think it's important, even though I support Trump, to call out certain things that need to be called out and say messaging needs to improve. We need to see arrests. We need to get more clarity on certain things, because the children are what will unite us in the end. And as fathers, as it should be. That's as it should be, right? So I think what's going on with Mexico right now, and I think them utilizing our intelligence, them nipping the problem, them trafficking. We just attacked. Well, we didn't personally attack. We just aided Mexico with intelligence to take down the head of a cartel that's basically the top of human trafficking and the top of the whole fentanyl crisis that are killing the kids currently. So I know Trump's delivering on that, right? And whether or not this is going to create a power vacuum in Mexico. Sorry, I'm going off on the tangent with this, but I think that affects the kids' lives that do these drugs that are cut with fentanyl, right? And things of that nature. So he's delivering on that, right? I mean, he's trying to nip the bud there. But I think when it comes to the Epstein file release itself, I think they need to be a little more transparent on, you could say he signed the bill for us to see where we're at. But I think they need to be clear that arrests will be made, and they are pursuing certain things against some of these perps.
I mean, we could listen. We could talk. We got about 30 seconds left to this segment. It's amazing how quick these segments go, because especially when it comes to children, I could talk about this all day. But we're leaving a clear message, Mr. President, as some of the larger influencers here on social media. Our followers are demanding, and they need to see arrests, and that will be the difference between a huge win and a huge loss for your administration. Anyway, we are here with Anthony Court. We love him. He talks the truth. He debunks everybody from the left, and we'll be back with our last clip coming up midnight. I'm out. Woo!
Most people think they have options when searching for the best deals when they travel. But here's the shocking truth. 100% of the major travel agencies are owned by just two entities, Expedia and Booking Holdings. They claim to offer the lowest rates, but due to the hotel rate parity agreement, they all have the same pricing, limiting genuine competition. When you book through these sites, you act as your own travel agent, but the profits are going to organizations that don't support our patriot values. We cannot allow that to continue. So, we decided to make travel great again by starting a US-based travel membership platform, mypatriottravel.com. We are patriots helping patriots. Together, we can disrupt the travel industry by not spending our hard-earned dollars supporting the radical left. For just $29.99 per month, you gain access to true wholesale rates on travel, saving you on average 35% and up to 65%. Book as often as you like, with no limits. Keep your hard-earned dollars in your pocket and spend them on things you need and want to support. Go to mypatriottravel.com/TAFW and grab your membership today. mypatriottravel.com/TAFW. Making travel great again.
Are you a true American? Then it's time to get connected. Download the America First Media and Television app and stay up to date with real news, bold voices, and live events from the America First Warehouse. From national broadcasts and exclusive shows to comedy nights, concerts, and special events. It's all right at your fingertips. No filters, no spin, just America First. Download the America First Media and Television app today and be part of the movement.
I'm sure you guys remember the platinum single Justice for All with Donald Trump and the J6 Prison Choir. Well, get ready for round 2. We're coming out with Anthem of the Free with High Res and the J6 Prison Choir. It's coming out now. It's pre-sale until December 19th when it drops. Get yours on all platforms, Google Play, Apple iTunes. Get it. It's going to be hot.
Justice for all, our voices ring. The anthem of the free.
It's me, Joe the Box, the America First Warehouse, most patriotic venue in all the land.
The America First Warehouse, a beacon for all to see, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free. In the America First Warehouse, where our hearts will always be.
We're back on the podcast, We the People, with Anthony Court. Just want to remind everybody, please download the app. It's called America First Media and Television. Eventually, we will only be streaming live from there on these podcasts. Right now, we are streaming live on Instagram and TikTok, and we are on Facebook and Rumble and YouTube. And we've got Big Dog here, Anthony Court, just coming here, just ripping the left, and debunking all the lies and everything that's going on. And again, from father to father, we can talk about children all day long and the trafficking, and that's something that we are going to be doing a lot more of. Starting organizations, we're going to start coalitions in your neighborhoods, in your towns, on your streets. Maybe you don't even know what's happening next door. Keep your eyes open, smart, vigilant, be aware of your surroundings. Trafficking is everywhere, and watch out. The children are giving you signs that they're being under siege, and you can go in there and help you. But one of the biggest stories coming out of California, is Governor Gavin Newsom. I think he pretty much just ended his whole entire career in about a 1-minute clip sitting down with the mayor over there in Georgia. I think that's clip number 4. Let's play this, and then clip number 5 is a Republican talking on behalf of what she saw about Governor Newsom. But let's take a look at Governor Newsom and what he had to say about the black community, about their level of intelligence.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech. Because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in.
So you can't read a speech. That means the black community can't read a speech. You got a 960 SAT score, which is, in all intents and purposes, not a good score, but it's okay because I'm exactly like you, and your community doesn't get better or lower than a 960.
South Park. You know Randy Marsh from South Park, the dad? Yeah. Randy Marsh vibes. The amount of cringe I got from watching that was just facepalm worthy, because, like you said, he sat there and said, I'm like you. And the way that he said he was like them was, I got a low SAT score and I can't read. Like that is that's how you relate to a predominantly black audience. What the hell does that say about you? That's insane.
I think we should be very transparent and very clear. I think it was Joe Biden said that if you don't vote Democrat, you're not black. And when they have the opportunity to say it, or maybe they don't think about before they open their mouths, is exactly how they think and how they feel. Is that today, to me, if you're of the black community, brown community, Hispanic, whatever you want to call it, that he's referring to, and you continue to still vote for these type of people, then you get exactly what you deserve. Let's show clip number 5. It is with this black woman talking about how she feels, what she heard, the words coming out of Governor Newsom's mouth. Or maybe is it? Yeah, it's the second one before the end. Maybe it's 6. No, the one before that.
He truly believes that black people, black Americans are intellectually inferior. That is where his comments were coming from. It's a continued narrative that's being brought out by this governor. Last week, he said that black Americans are unable to get IDs or get passports, which is something that is just absurd. I mean, you see black people here in California driving every day to and from work. In order to do that, they need a driver's license, aka an identification. So we all have them. We're all smart enough. We're all capable enough. We know how to drive. We know how to go down to the DMV and stand in line and take a test, and we pass that test, and we're able to function like any other person. Again, the mindset of Black people being intellectually inferior is a mindset that is deeply rooted in racism.
what disgusts me is she's defending herself against animals like this. I find it an atrocity. I find it so insulting. As living with anti-Semitism pretty much my whole life, I have to tell you, and then people call me a Nazi. I go, I'm a Nazi. Like, I'm so confused. Oh, hold on. Rabbi, I'm a Nazi. I got to give back my bar mitzvah. It's just, people are nuts. People are nuts. And, I just think when we start looking at, people like just that, if they're human beings, no color, no religion, no nothing, that's when the world can start to heal. But,
Well, that's the thing, though. I'm going to touch on Gavin Newsom here. My generation, they technically call me a millennial. I was born in 85. I identify more with your generation because I got my ass beat by your generation, right? But that's the thing. They grew us. They had us growing up to see things as colorless and equal. But then it started going in the reverse direction. Like, oh no, we need to put people on a pedestal. People that have never lived as slaves, yada yada yada. And that's the thing. Everybody's raised to believe that they're a victim, and they need to share that with everybody for some reason. When you live in the most fair and free country in the world, but people like Gavin Newsom don't want you to feel like you are equal, right? The blatant racism in his comments. I mean, that's the average white liberal for you, though, especially that are politicians like himself. He is the definition of privilege, and I'm not saying because he's white. He's the definition of having born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He owns a winery. And he's going to sit there on a stage and say, oh, I'm just like you. I can't read. I can't get good SAT score. What the hell is he smoking? And if the real people see this, the real people see his true colors, they'll never vote Democrat again or for the rest of their lives.
And why did he start speaking weird? Like, I am you. I am did you, what was that? Is that all of a sudden, because back in the day they called it ebonics with me. Like, they wanted to insult the black family. You talk about some kind of ebonics bullshit. Did he look at research, study history and start talking slow to them? It's like, you couldn't get more insulting than that.
Yeah, like he's some sort of like oh yeah, I'm like you. I could see him practicing this in front of the mirror, American Psycho style. Like, oh, if I do these pauses, these people he believes are inferior to him because of how he's speaking to them are going to understand him better. That's just the blatant racism seeping through. And no matter what, though, because Joe Biden went on a Charlemagne the God's podcast and said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And the black community still stood by him. I mean, the left-leaning black community still stood by him and gave him a pass. So unfortunately, we're probably going to see them give Newsom a pass on this. And I live in California, so I've lived under the failed leadership of Gavin Newsom, a big majority of my life, him being mayor of San Francisco. I lived a year in San Francisco when he was mayor, right? I saw how shitty San Francisco became because of his leadership, right? Yep. And I could go back to his district, to San Francisco in general today, compared to when I lived there when I was 20 years old. I'm 40 now. It's 20 years ago. It's like night and day comparison. I mean, it was bad back then, but due to his policy, his lieutenant governorship, his governorship, the lax on crime attitude has left it a shithole. I wish I could, lack of a better term, it's left it a shithole. And that's the kind of policy that the left wants to bring back into the White House. He would be 10 times, and Joe Biden's bad, but he would be 10 times worse than Joe Biden.
By the way, before I forget, where can people find you on social media?
On all social media, The Real Anthony Court on Instagram and Facebook, and Anthony Court with a K, it's K-O-R-T on TikTok and Twitter.
Okay, perfect. Because I want to show you something. I'm going to show you this last clip. Zohran Mamdani, my phone went off. And New York is all liberal, right? So we're gonna show liberals that we're gonna unite. My phone goes off 9:00 at night. You can't go driving in New York City at 9:00 at night, or you're gonna be arrested. And I'm like, there's no way this mayor from Uganda is gonna tell me that I can't go into my road and go and says only people that should be on the road. Well, there's nobody that should be on the road more than me. Go show this clip because I'm gonna bring love and happiness to everybody. Check this out.
I'll say it clear.
We got snowplows.
I'll state my case.
Zohran Our mom daddy gave us 4 snowplows. Love you guys. Woo! We did it our way. Yes. It's just a great show. What happened? But we're New Yorkers, and we got this. Come on my TikTok, thousands. Let me hear what we're right.
Much more than this. I did it my way.
Hey, thank you. Yes, you did it your way. Hold on, look at this bear. I love him. Yes, let it out. There it goes. Hold on. More than this. I did it my way. See the snow in my car. I'm in my car and I'm getting fucking walloped. Hey, but we did it our way. All right, now you can cut it now. Anyway, I wanted to show that to you because we've got to continue to be better than them. And we can't be angry and miserable and crazy and jumping in churches and throwing ice balls at ICE agents. We go with that about 30 seconds. How do you want to leave? How do you want to leave this platform of who you are and what's the real message you want to put out there to everybody?
Well, I just think we need to stay united. And I know not everybody agrees with every single thing that happens under Trump, but you have to understand, to be a leader in this current climate, you have to compromise to have bills passed. And I think we have to remember that, right? He's not a king. He is the president of the United States. He has to work with Congress. And I know that we have a majority in the House, but if we want to keep that majority and then some, we have to stay united and we have to support the president. But we do need to demand accountability and have people investigated.
You're amazing. Anyway, this is the midnight. We got Anthony Court. On 3, we say woo. We are out. 1, 2, 3. Woo!
Cut-Crust Warehouse, a beacon for all to see. A symbol of hope, a symbol of unity. For the patriots of America, we stand tall and free in the American